Hello class, this is Professor Rustu. I wanted to go over the cultural responsive lesson plan creation. So for this particular assignment, you can find it in the table of contents under major assignments. This is the actual assignment, and then I'll show you some of the other things that you need to know. So the objective for this assignment is to validate your knowledge learned about cultural responsive teaching and instruction. Okay, you want to be able to apply critical thinking skills to solve problems regarding specific educational concerns. In this case, you're going to modify a general lesson plan to make it more culturally responsive. And then you're going to write a reflection to demonstrate that you understand the impact of diversity with respect to learning and assessment. So your goal is to take and find a lesson plan. You can use any lesson plan online that you can find. And you want to choose 3 areas to modify or change, okay, so that they are more culturally responsive. You can choose 3 areas. For example, you can choose formative or summative assessments, instructional strategies, you can choose materials and procedures, you can choose directions, you can choose the ways that students have to present that information, which may be part of assessments as well. When you are done, okay, you want to write a reflective essay, and as you are looking at how to modify it, you want to jot down on your lesson plan ways that these changes are culturally responsive. What makes them responsive to the needs of other individuals. So it should show that you are culturally literate. Okay. Your reflection is going to ask you to respond to: why is being culturally responsive important? What are specific strategies that students have learned throughout the semester that would be considered culturally responsive on any lesson? And you can refer to the websites below, as well as the handout that's posted in major assignments that I'll show you next. What impact does cultural responsive teaching or instruction have on all students, okay, in the classroom? And so this is what you're going to write your reflection on when you are done. And here are a couple of links for great resources. This is your rubric. This is how you're going to be graded. Does your lesson plan show notes and explanations about the modifications? Does it show some notes, and does it show little or no notes? And then, is your response thought out? Have you really thought about those areas that you've chosen, those 3, and the impact that they have? Okay, and is it elaborate enough? So based on the degree to which you do these, you'll get your score. Okay. So if we go back to major assignments and we look at cultural responsive teaching, this is just some general information about what cultural responsive teaching is. Okay? And basically it's a pedagogy that recognizes the importance and value of including students' cultural references in all aspects of learning. Okay. Students can use all sorts of cultural tools to understand and process information, from songs to physically manipulating content, to recitation, to poetry. And if teachers can mimic those tools, they are becoming more culturally responsive in their teaching and learning. So there are 3 ways to make a lesson more culturally competent. Here are 3. There probably are many others, but you can gamify your lesson. Okay, turn it into a game where students can get really engaged and learn the information. Create a very positive social atmosphere the students learn to trust each other and they have this comfort zone in their own classroom. And a third way would be to add meaning through the use of narratives. Here's an example of a lesson that a student last semester submitted. Okay, and you can get any generic lesson. All right, but this is called Rocketeers with Numbers and Shapes. Okay, and so as the student goes through the lesson, he or she included comments. Okay, comments on the side to demonstrate their thinking process and as to identify which areas were selected to modify. And then they have posted their response. And for example, this lesson has things broken down into summary, post-assessment, participatory learning. This is the Bob's lesson template, so you can pick a particular area and change it. Here's an example of one of the comments. Instead of tasking them to simply count out shapes, make it a game with the other students. First, have them complete friendly against each other, and then perhaps even work in teams. So that's a suggestion of the types of comments that I would like to see, and also how you can go about doing so.